This is a picture of the ductwork. The ductwork for a clean room is going to get real busy real fast. In the next slide, you're going to see how we've got 3 different duct lines going in 3 different directions that we've got to account for. And this is where people start to get in trouble with retrofitting spaces, is that the mechanical contractor has to get real creative. And you'll see that again on the next slide. So here's the biggest takeaway. Flexible fiberglass ductwork does not work for a clean room, a controlled or critical environment. There's too much airflow, there's too much pressure, there's too much stuff going on. And typically now, in these type of commercial environments, the local mechanical building code will say, yes, metal ductwork, and we've got to make sure it's sealed and we've got to make sure it's wrapped. So I say this not that it needs to be said, but it really kind of does need to be said, if I can contradict myself. So notice this metal ductwork, and we used to call this pookie back in the day, but now it's called mastic or duct sealant. HVAC guys still know what I mean when I say pookie. And then we're going to take it to the next step, which is actually insulating it and wrapping it. Now, why do we want to insulate it and wrap it? If we want to get that air into the clean room and maintain that 65 degrees Fahrenheit, again, I'm wearing rear tying gowns, double shoe covers, double gloves, hair bouffant mask. I'm kind of sweating in there a little bit, so I want it to be 65. That means this air getting delivered down this ductwork is coming in at 52 to 55 degrees. So it's cold. Now, what is the temperature in this unconditioned interstitial space? We don't know. And in certain areas, it gets really hot, really warm, because this is not conditioned space. So hot, unconditioned air and cold ductworks, it's like taking a can of Coca-Cola and putting it in your attic space. What's going to happen? It's going to start to sweat over time because it condenses. That's why you want to insulate it and wrap it, so that if it does start to drip or condensate over time, and hopefully it doesn't with insulation, it will not drip on top of your clean room. Because if it starts dripping on top of your clean room and you start seeing discolored tiles, that's a place where CFUs are going to be harboring, and you've got to now shut down the clean room or the controlled environment so that you can go up there and get that leaking to stop. So it's important that this slide goes further to your HVAC contractor. Now, earlier when I said it's going to take up a lot of room, ductwork does take up a lot of room, and this is one of the models that I recently built to show the HVAC contractor all the different lines. So our supply air is coming in all of these silver lines going to our fan filter units and diffusers. The green lines are the return air going from our non-hazardous area. So in this situation, I would have a standard positive pressure clean room doing eye drops, ear drops, whatever I'm doing inside of there. But because it's non-hazardous, I can recirculate that air back into the air handler or back into the system. But the red lines are coming off of my biological safety cabinet, off of my my powder hood that I'm doing my hazardous drug weighing in, and my low wall. So the red lines are coming out of my hazardous area. So notice I've got 3 different duct lines: supply, return, and exhaust. So if above your interstitial space, you've only got, or above your ceiling tiles right now, you've only got maybe 18 to 24 inches worth of space, you may have a real difficult time satisfying USP 800 in the future. So I did a podcast not too long ago, and it was, is this building going to work for your pharmacy? So if you're out shopping for real estate, qualifying that building first. Now, hey, great that it used to be a dentist office, and that was actually the story that I used, is that this particular pharmacy went out and bought a former dentist office. And in the end, after they bought it, they called me later. We finally figured out there was no way you were going to move all the ductwork through that space. Plus, it was inadequate. It didn't have 3-phase power, didn't have natural gas, had a lot of different things kind of going on. But if you're out shopping for real estate, qualifying the building first for USP, for design and construction, is more important than the fact that it used to be a dentist office or a chiropractor's office, or it's in a strip mall or in a medical mall where I've got the natural synergy to all these providers. And I appreciate that, right? If you're heavy in HRT and you've got a lot of OBGYNs and women's health specialty providers in that strip mall, yeah, you absolutely want to be in that medical mall area. But if the building doesn't work, the building doesn't work. And so the takeaway from this is qualify the space and understand that there's a lot happening with the ductwork now for US